I'm all ears.
Hell, I can't make that make sense. Listen, the one thing I know about the Jones family is they are intelligent business people. Charlotte, Steven, Jerry. But that's one of the most tone-deaf statements I've ever heard. The reason you're discussed is not because you're more important. It's not because you sneezed. It's because you sneeze more than everybody else. It's because you have hiccups every single day. Because even though Trey Hendrickson is a hold-in in Cincinnati, we don't hear from the Jones family there every day, right? Even though we're talking about a guy like Terry McLaurin, we're not listening to Josh Harris or Adam Peters basically do his deal or talk about why he won't get his deal, speak negatively on their name publicly every single day. When we have a topic that we're going to discuss about the Dallas Cowboys, it's usually attached to sounds from one of the Jones family members. It's not Stephen A. making up something. It's not Mad Dog making up something. It's not Lewis making up something. Molly, you don't have to write up this whole piece. It's about the fact that you just said something. You're dragging this through the media. You're allowing this to play out right in front of our eyes, and we're speaking on it because of you. It's not because you don't handle business. It's because you don't handle business in the right way.
Dog?
Well, I would say, listen, I hate the way that Jones has handled this, and I'm a little surprised that Parsons is not yet signed. But let's be honest. We have led with Parsons basically 35 times in a row. They're playing right into the Cowboys' hands. They get great ratings on TV. Everybody wants them on Sunday afternoons or Thanksgiving or Christmas. They are the star in the helmet. They are the nation's most popular team. So everything they say, the Bengals are not. All right? The Commanders are not. Dallas is. So we, the media, ESPN, talk shows, Mad Dog and all that, we play into this because we can't get enough of it. So this has been beaten to death. I still think by September 5th, he's going to be a Dallas Cowboy against the Eagles. He'll be on the field. Do I need to hear from Charlotte?
I don't know. Did you hear what Adam Schefter had to say?
I don't buy it.
I do.
Not buy it.
I do.
Adam Schefter saying they're headed for a divorce,
I do.
Lewis.
No, look. This comes off, look, RC hit it right. Look, it is tone deaf. I mean, they're talking like, poor us. Why are you picking on us? Why are you talking about us all the time? We're just doing business like everyone else. No, you're not. No other team in the NFL has an owner so unique and so dysfunctional.
Stephen A., what were your thoughts on Charlotte?
I was really disappointed. It just, I love trolling the Cowboys. We all know that because of their fans. But none of this is funny to me. And in the case of Doggy, what I would say to you is that this isn't par for the course. This is not about what's going to happen on week one. This is about how things are transpiring and how they've been transpiring over the last few months. When you have somebody like Doggy that's been covering sports for so many years, I so respect where he's coming from because it's a microcosm of how the industry looks at things, and you should for the most part. You're not wrong, Doggy, but understand that as we sit here talking about this, you're talking about a multi-billionaire owner, the owner of a franchise that is now worth to be approximately $12.8 billion, according to Forbes, that's elevated over $9.4 billion in value since their last Super Bowl appearance, which they won in January of 1996. Jerry Jones is universally recognized as an astute and brilliant businessman, and the Cowboys as a marketing machine. But you're walking around acting like a conversation with a 25-year-old football player at the time was tantamount to a negotiation, and holding it against him that apparently he's deviated from whatever you want to surmise was an agreement, and you don't even talk to his representation. You got to think about that. That goes far deeper than, at the end of the day, he's going to end up a Dallas Cowboys. The treatment towards this young man, how you've conducted yourself over these last few months in terms of not even talking with his agent is egregious. And to me, that is what the story is. That is something that we can't get away from. That doesn't go away once Micah Parsons is signed. At some point in time, you've got to stand up and answer for how do you justify doing that? Explain to everybody how you can get away with that, how you believe that's okay for you not to talk to this individual's representation. Outside of the fact that he's a star who's produced for you, who's checked every box, and has lived up to all the acclaim that came along with his name. Outside of the fact that his loyalty to the Dallas Cowboys was undeniable because he told you he wanted to sign early and he was willing to sign for less, and you still didn't do it at that particular moment in time. Outside of all of that, to not talk to his representation, I'm sorry. That, to me, is not a story that goes away just because week 1 of the NFL season, Micah Parsons could end up signing a deal with the Dallas Cowboys. There's a residue beneath all of that that's not going to escape most of us.
It's the ultimate
certainly
sign
not
of
going to escape
disrespect.
me.
Well, you know, Adam Schefter said that at some point they could be headed for divorce, which means that Adam Schefter doesn't believe that this is going to happen immediately. And when you think about, when I mentioned Mike Brown of the Cincinnati Bengals, when I mentioned Josh Harris of the Washington Commanders, they didn't lock a player in the room and say to him, these are the amount of years we want to agree to. This is the amount of money per year that we want to agree to. And then take that as a negotiation or a sign that this deal would get done. There is still fine print. There is still small black print that has to be ironed out about simple things that go into a contract that Micah Parsons, in no disrespect to him, doesn't have the depth to do, doesn't have the experience to do, doesn't have the knowledge to do. So Jerry Jones thought he got one, right? Jerry Jones thought that he had found a way to usurp, right? The negotiations, the agent who was one of the best agents in all of the world, and get Micah Parsons to sign to a deal that he doesn't even understand. And the bigger problem is this. Charlotte Jones is acting like this is a part of the piece of the way the media covers the Dallas Cowboys all the time. There wasn't this much noise about CD. There wasn't this much noise about Dak Prescott. Micah Parsons is the best player in the world that doesn't have a contract negotiation done right now that should. And that's the reason we're talking about it.
What do you think sounds worse here? Is it Jerry or Charlotte?
Look, they have both said some things that you just sit there and your jaw just hits the floor. I just don't like the fact that her comments come off as us manufacturing narratives and storylines about this football team. We don't have to manufacture anything. They're making the comments. You know, the fact that the facts are what they are. The way in which this contract negotiation for Micah Parsons has played out is so counterintuitive to everything that front offices are trying to get done year after year with players like Micah Parsons. You dream of this scenario if you're a general manager. You dream of drafting a guy in the first round at an impact position who has been on the football field for you, who has been a force multiplier on your football team, who's on a Hall of Fame trajectory. These are the kind of guys you go to early and you say, we want to take care of you because we want you to be a guy who eventually becomes one of those people on the Mount Rushmore of this fantastic organization. That's the thing that you want to be proactive about. You don't try and be kind of slithery about it and say, hey, look, let me talk to you one-on-one about this when you know that the contract is going to be historic in terms of its size and in terms of its scope. This is the kind of thing you go to his agent and you bring him in and you say, hey, look, this is a foundational guy. This is a foundational guy in the history of this organization. Let's do this the right way and get done with it. And now you won't talk to the guy's representation.
Now,
what is that?
If your argument here, we're saying two things. The first thing we're saying, well, he handled this negotiation poorly. He showed disrespect, didn't bring the agent in, and obviously Parsons is not as sharp as the agent because he's not, he's 25 years old. I agree with that. If your argument is Jerry Jones should have handled this negotiation much more properly and been fair to the kid, 100%. But that is not the argument here. The argument here, to me, is simply, will Michael Parsons be a Dallas Cowboy on September 5th? And on September 4th, I still swear he's going to be, and you and me and Ryan and Stephen A. and Molly, we're going to say, okay, enough of that. We've spent 3 months on it. We got a lot of mileage out of it. Boy, did we get mileage out of it. Now let's play the football game on NBC on September 5th. That's what I think we're going to be.
I don't necessarily see that as being the case. I just don't. I don't see it being that easy.
Go ahead, Stephen A.
Well, it's not going to be that easy, but just so y'all know, Lewis and RC and Molly, in case you haven't noticed, there's a new show coming on SiriusXM September 22nd, September 2nd. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio. I debut September 2nd. I'm the lead-in to Mad Dog Russo. and then I re-air after he goes off the air. And you know me, I'm the kind of person to come back on live after 6 o'clock if I ain't like what the hell I had him said between 3 and 6. You know, that's always that potential with me. I bring that up for this reason. There's a whole bunch of people throughout the industry, and they're not wrong. I'm not castigating anybody, but think just like Doggy. Week 1, he's going to end up a Dallas Cowboy, and that's that. For some of us, it ain't like that. We ain't going to have that kind of mentality. It's not about him signing by week 1. It's about what happened during the process. And I would ask Doggy to take this into consideration. You know how many times you've been annoyed over the years when guys have been under contracts and they're making millions of dollars, to use your words, and you have felt, Doggy, you and a lot of your contemporaries, about how dare they feel slighted. You're making all of this money. Oh, please, nonsense. Go out there and play, blah, blah, blah. But somehow, some way, some of the things that they bring up in terms of a lack of respect and decency and the way that they were treated during the negotiations, and some of the things that they had to endure and experience had them feeling slighted in a way that was incredibly alarming to them. And a lot of times folks like yourself may not want to hear that, but folks like me do want to hear that, because the process and what transpires matters. You are Micah Parsons. You are 25 years old, admittedly unqualified to represent yourself in a negotiation, and a man that negotiates for a living, that has built billions of dollars for himself and his brand, who is in his 80s, who has been doing this for the better part of the last 60 years, at least 35 years before you were even conceived. This man is standing there and treating you like you're somebody that made an agreement with him and won't even talk to your representation. And then his son comes out and his son says, oh, Micah Parsons has to want to get paid. And now we've got the daughter talking about how, you know what, this what comes with the territory. That's the media intimating that it's some kind of fabrication, as opposed to accepting the onus and the responsibility that comes along with them. I love me some Jerry Jones. I know he's done a lot of good for a lot of former players and a lot of people. Everybody knows I have a relationship with them. But this stuff right here, this is some inexcusable stuff that I believe he needs to explain. I'm sorry. There's no way around that, Doggy. There's no way around that.
There's a level of respect and decorum that entitlement has made absent in the comments of the Jones. They're letting some of their intrusive thoughts and the conversations they have around dinner tables become public. Right? This has become very personal with Micah Parsons, and a man that has done business as well and as long as Jerry Jones has understands that you can't make business personal for someone like Micah Parsons, because he only has one career. They've been able to grow this business $9+ billion in 30 years where they haven't been to a championship game. Micah Parsons only gets one chance at this.
He's making $21 million a year.
Mad Dog, you're missing the point.
No, I'm not.
See?
No, I'm not.
See?
Mad
There's
Dog,
a Doggy.
Mad Dog, everybody has a breaking point for disrespect. You can only take so much. So when you've been loyal to someone year after year after year after year, that is a slap in the face. And then to do it publicly, and then at some point you have to say, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore, and I'm going to be the first to do it, even if it is the Jones, because it's about principles, and it's about disrespect. Not everything in life is about money.
In the NFL, it is. It's
But
about how much money you get paid
no,
in the NFL.
Differently.
It is. Look,
all it's about money.
look. The NFL is.
Careers are short.
Look, professional sports is a transactional world. I will give you that. It is that. But see, there's also a process by which it becomes transactional that they right now are setting a whole new paradigm up. Look, there have been many guys in the NFL who are top-level players who have wound up getting paid in a very transactional manner to where which they were treated the right way during the process.
Did you feel this way about T.J. Watt? Were you screaming that T.J. Watt was under contract and T.J. Watt was going to make a certain amount of money?
screamed about that.
But you know what? Here's the point.
Is Trey Hendrickson supposed to just play for the $16 million?
Here's the point, though. But listen,
here's the point, though. And he signed.
Okay, one at a time, guys.
The Rooneys.
He signed.
Have you ever heard of the Rooneys saying to a player, didn't I talk to you one-on-one, RC? I don't need to talk to your agent. So you're not going to take the deal. And then your agent's calling and like, And Mr. Rudy's
Bigger
going,
point,
I'm
though,
not
with
going to call
Lewis.
back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we're talking. It's the manner in which we're doing this.
But hold on. To encapsulate this, because it's very important that I say this with RC and Lewis right here. You see, Doggy is not wrong. Here's the issue. The Jerry Jones of the world and owners like that and executives like that or whatever are counting on the Doggies of the world in the media all over the place to think just like he's thinking. Doggy's like, he's getting paid $21 million a year. Hey, he's under contract, okay? That's it. That's it. I'll see you week 1. It stops there because that's the bottom line for most commentators, pundits, reporters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It goes a little bit deeper with some others, myself, RC, Lewis, because we see it differently. It doesn't make Doggy wrong, but what it points out is how the industry of sports, in this particular instance, relies on that kind of thinking to sort of gloss over all the stuff that's transpiring that is a bit offensive to a lot of people. It ain't just about Micah Parsons. You got a